guys, welcome back to the 12 days of foundation. I have been testing out 12 foundations over 12 days. We are on day number 7 today. It is all about the MAC Pro Longwear Nourishing Waterproof Foundation. I will link to my previous reviews down below, and I'm super excited to test this one out. It has been very highly requested, and this isn't a first impression. I have worn this a few times, but let's go ahead and get into the review. The MAC Pro Longwear Nourishing Waterproof Foundation has been around for some time now, but I only picked it up a few weeks ago and I have been testing it out. This isn't a first impression, but this comes in 24 different shades, which is a little bit less than MAC's, or about half less than what MAC generally presents in a complexion product. It does go from N18 all the way up to NW50, so it does seem to still have the range, but they've cut it down for whatever reason. It retails for $35 American and $41 Canadian. You're getting 0.84 fluid ounces in here, which is less than the average size of a foundation, which is interesting. Not really sure why they did that. It comes in a squeezy tube bottle, which I think is super convenient, easy for travel. It's nice and small and compact. I don't know if it's because they're saying that it's like a foundation slash concealer, that's why it has less product in here, but I do like the packaging. It is quite simple. I'm wearing the shade NC42, which I wear in just about everything from MAC, with the exception of the Studio Fix powder. I wear an NC43 for whatever reason, but I will have popular foundation shades that I am listed down below. I'm gonna go ahead and bring you in for application. We'll chat through claims a little bit, and I am going to prime this half of my face to see if it makes any difference. Just dotting it on my skin here. It says on the website you can use a brush, a sponge, or your fingers. My preferred method is always a brush, and it says it has a medium to full coverage, weightless, repels water, wears for 24 hours. So lots of big claims on there, but it does blend really easily. It has a really nice texture, not super runny, but also not super thick. In the claims on the MAC website, it does, like in the actual title of the foundation, it says waterproof. Then on the actual claims on the MAC website, it says water resistant, but it also says it's transfer resistant, oil free, and it's also supposed to be hydrating. And hydrating is one of those words that I can be a little bit scared of when it comes to just about anything complexion related, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. Hydration isn't necessarily going to make you oily, like some products obviously will, but sometimes when you have oily skin, you can also have dehydrated skin, so a little hydration is actually good to balance it out. So I'm gonna leave it at that for coverage. I don't wanna build it up anymore. I really do love the finish that this has on the skin. It's super natural. It says that it's good for all skin types, and I think it actually could be good for all skin types. You just kind of need to like prep according to your skin's needs. So you can see it just has a really natural finish on the skin. You can still kind of see my skin where I've built it up, but then it's also kind of hidden any of the redness and acne and scarring I have on my face versus this side. Just, it looks really natural on the skin. Just building it up on this side of my face. But what I wanted to mention was make sure that you're signed up for MAC Select. It's a free program. You just sign up on their website. They seem to be doing more sales than they ever have. This is what, when I picked up this foundation, actually it was 25% off. So they do that like a couple times a year. Then you also get points, and then MAC, their website is actually doing Ebates now. They never used to do Ebates, which is exciting. So you'll get a little percentage back there. So MAC has really kind of like stepped up their game in the way of like points and sales and stuff. They never had to do it before. They were always the leader in the industry, but times are a-changing, and MAC forever will have a special place in my heart and a lot of people's heart. But I think like a lot of younger people growing up who maybe, I don't know, I don't want to like put an age on it, but I think like people who are starting to get into makeup now who are a little bit younger are going for brands maybe like Too Faced, like Tarte, and aren't like I know like for me a lot of people that are my age and older, the first high-end or more high-end item you got was like a MAC lipstick, but I don't know that that's always the case anymore. I don't know that MAC is the gateway drug to makeup anymore. But for me, I love it. I love just about everything they do. So I built it up to about a pretty strong medium coverage. This is just one of those foundations that's easy. There's a lot of foundations that aren't necessarily difficult, but they're not easy, if you know what I mean. Like this just blends so seamlessly, feels lightweight on the skin, looks lightweight, it's buildable. It doesn't take a whole lot to make it look really good, which I really appreciate. As you see, it has a little bit of a sheen to my skin, and it feels like still slightly tacky, so I'm going to be powdering it, of course. But if you do have a more dry skin type, this may be just where you kind of want to leave it and you won't need to powder it. It definitely does not feel tight or super matte on the skin, it doesn't claim to be that finish anyways. It says on the MAC website that it has more of a satin finish, so it's definitely not even a semi-matte. I would definitely say it is kind of a pretty true satin. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my makeup and we will chat about how it looks in photos. And I'm back with a full face of makeup. As always, everything I'm wearing will be listed down below, and I'm sorry if these reviews get repetitive and I'm kind of saying the same thing over and over, but a lot of the time people are just kind of jumping in for one review. They've never watched one before, so I'm trying to answer people's questions before they have to ask them, so sorry if it gets a little bit repetitive. But everything looks really good on my skin. Primed side especially, it looks beautiful, but they both look great. Feels so lightweight on the skin, and it does set a little bit more. It loses a little bit of its tackiness, but as I mentioned, I did powder, and I just think that it has such a nice lightweight feeling on the skin. Everything blended really beautifully once I powdered it, so I'm really happy with the way that it looks. As for photos, it actually performed quite well across the board. Here in my filming lighting, I think that it looks amazing. It has a really skin-like finish, a little bit of a dew to it, but nothing that looks greasy and nothing that looks too matte or too flat. When I turned off my ring light, I thought it performed quite well, and again, you can see that it doesn't have that flat look to it. And then once I was in essentially a dark room with my flash, there is a little bit of flashback. It doesn't list itself as having SPF in there, but I think that again, it does look quite good on the skin. So I'm gonna go ahead about my day and I will check back with you in some natural lighting so you can get a better look. So it's a few hours later now and we are in some natural light, so hopefully you can get a little bit of a better idea of what it actually looks like on the skin. I am going to blot a little bit. It definitely feels like it's starting to get oily, but it doesn't really look too oily on my skin. I can just kind of feel it a little bit more than when I initially applied it, but now that I'm blotting, there's actually not a ton of oil on my face. And then I'm just going to powder lightly down the center of my face, just to keep things matte as possible. So yeah, things look quite good. I mean, it doesn't claim it to be a matte foundation, so I don't expect it to be matte. It did say it was satin, so far things look really good. They're holding up, they're not patching off, and nothing has oxidized or anything like that either, and the primed side is slightly more matte than the unprimed side, but I will check back with you at the end of the night and we will see how it all held up. Here we are at the end of my makeup day and things look really good. I'm definitely a little bit shiny, but I have incredibly oily skin, and for something that claims to have a satin finish, this has held up quite well. The primed side is actually more matte than the unprimed side. I don't know if you can tell. Both sides, however, do look good. It still feels really good on my skin. It doesn't feel oily or heavy or cakey or look that way either, but I am going to do a little bit of blotting and powdering. I think this foundation could be a really good option for a variety of skin tones. I think that the kind of nourishing aspect to it is really kind of, it has like this hydrating feel to it without it feeling greasy, which is really nice. And it just wears beautifully on the skin. If you're super oily and you're looking for something that's gonna be like incredibly matte and you won't need to touch up, this is not it, but I actually touched up less than I thought I would have to. I mean, I just did that touch up in the middle of the day, and upon touching up, it actually does look quite good. Did not oxidize. My blush, bronzer, highlight is all still in place. Things look really good. What I want to test, however, is the waterproof, water-resistant claims. And of course, I'm going to put my hair up as I chat with you. Of course, there's so many factors that go into this, and this is not like an accurate, like, scientific test. It is a YouTube foundation review, after all, because I have no idea how to put my hair up in a ponytail when it looks like this. I'm lost. Maybe I'm just going to put it in this little bun back here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do first is just drip some water on my face, similar to like if I was crying. Actually, let me bring you in. Okay, so now that we're up closer to my face, you can actually see like how good it still looks on my skin after wearing it for a few hours, but let's pretend I had a bad day. I'm crying, woe is me. And it really does seem to kind of repel water, but like this is gonna depend on powder, so many other things. This is probably like the waterproof claim, I assume, is just for the foundation, obviously. So that's what it looks like. No streaking. Now let's pretend I'm at a water park or something, and you know how they have those like misting stations, and it's like, oops, I accidentally walked into it. Oh no, I didn't see it. Whew. There you can see what it looks like. Again, no major streaking, but let me just try blotting it and see what happens. I'm gonna use a paper towel. Huh, look at that. barely anything. So I was wearing a hat earlier today too, and there was a little transfer. I mean, it's like bound to happen, but it didn't seem to actually like transfer off on my like transfer. You couldn't see where it transferred on my head, if that makes sense. And also, like, I spent a lot of today cuddling my cat and putting my face on her and kind of lying around and things, like nothing has patched away. So this looks really good. I'll show you the cloth. And there's one kind of darker spot on here, and I think it's actually my concealer. This, I think, was my concealer area. But like, I would 100% still wear my foundation like this. It actually looks really fresh and natural on the skin. Now we'll do the you pissed off the wrong girl test, and she threw a glass of water in your face, and see what happens. Okay. There we go. I have a towel. I'm not making that mistake again. Okay. So here you can see everything, and as I mentioned, everything I'm wearing on my face is listed down below if you're curious to know like what's holding up. So let's try blotting again. Uh-oh. Got my mascara. Wow. Here is my paper towel. There's a little mascara on there. A little bit of foundation transfer, but barely. And like, my face looks like dewy and glowy and healthy and youthful. Like, I don't even know what my boyfriend and I are doing tonight, but I'm not gonna like do my makeup again. I thought I was gonna have to do my makeup again. This could be like a new thing, you know, to like get like really dewy, nice looking skin, is like just dump some water over your head. Here's a better close-up of how everything looks after I've sprayed and dumped water on myself. It's kind of just for fun. I know it's not like the most accurate test ever. So I've got to say, I'm pretty impressed with this foundation. I may have lost a hint of coverage kind of in the center of my face from blotting after I had really wet it, but overall things look really good, and I actually will continue to wear this foundation for a few hours, which was not at all what I expected. And even outside of the waterproof test, I really do enjoy this foundation, and I have been wearing it quite often. It just feels really comfortable on the skin. It doesn't feel dry or tight, and I think I would recommend this for just about any skin type. It seems to be really, really nice. If you do have a more oily skin type like myself, definitely reach for a mattifying powder and a mattifying primer, even a setting spray if you'd like to. If you have a more normal skin, this should be just fine. And if you have a drier skin type, I think that this would be good. You still may want to reach for a moisturizing primer just in case, because it may catch on to dry patches. I can't really attest to that, but overall, it's really blendable, nice coverage, good shade range. The only real downfall about it is that you're not getting that full fluid ounce, which is a little bit of a bummer, because that is the average size of a foundation. And of course, it would be nice to see that full MAC shade range in there, but they do still have quite a few shades. So I recommend this one. Another successful review. Stay tuned for tomorrow. I'll be reviewing another foundation. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat at SamanthaJaneYT, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!